A man accidentally cuts his finger, but the wound heals itself and he looks at his lover evilly, and the next second, he directly picked up the kitchen knife to press the man's hand and cut it off. The woman completely broke down and couldn't believe that the man he loved was not human. But he didn't give up at all. Ouch, 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 look, about to be driven crazy. The man slowly revealed his identity. His name was Carl, an angel who had fallen to earth and whose main job was to carry the souls of the dead to heaven. There are angels like him all over the city who have eternal life without pain and never will again. Carl's heart was colder than an Arctic glacier until a woman came along. Everything has changed. He called and is the hospital's new surgeon. He with superb medical skills to save one after another ice-dead life also completely attracted the attention of Carl. That day Carl was about to take away a heart patient can and still do not want to give up after a whole night of fighting. No one can see an angel, but Annie's eyes at this moment seemed to penetrate everything. Hit Carl's heart. This is also the first time he felt the beating of the heart of the family members cry into a group and ran to the corridor. Gas not sound. He blamed himself. Not surprised. Carl can read the mortal heart but cannot understand his pain at this time. In his opinion, after death, it is just another way to continue living, but the tears on the face of the woman let him feel distressed. He slowly stretched out his hands to give comfort but and could not feel his existence, and this matter has become Anne's heart, and even to do surgery produced fear. Carl cannot bear to see him this depression across a layer of glass closely looked at, and that face of sadness. Feeling very unhappy, Carl made a decision that he would appear in Annie's world as a friend to comfort him. Annie was confused by the sudden appearance of this strange man, but there was such pure affection and tenderness in his eyes. But let him get a great comfort and regained her confidence and returned to the operating table again. Time passed by, but the sudden appearance of "But there is no clearly only met once can end but never forget the figure at night to think of difficult to sleep and want to see the book to find sleepiness but surprised to find more than one out on the nightstand." Put on his glasses and watched carefully the gentle lines of sentences that were healing his tired heart little by little, and thought a colleague had smuggled them to him. But the colleague said that he had not done such a thing. He went to the library to ask who was the person who borrowed the book. Carl sensed that Annie was looking for him and immediately appeared in front of him. "It's nicey waganatorithisia again met miss already a long time." And was a little shy, and he said he liked Hemingway's books, and he opened one at random and read to him in a low magnetic voice. It seems that there is a special magic to Anne's eyes gradually blurred. She summoned the courage to ask men information. Can men actually say she is angel and did not really care for the two people? Gradually opened their hearts, and the relationship between the two people in the rapid warming up, and even went to the market together to buy food. As an angel of her and human taste is very different. She urgently want to know Anne's feelings. Your description of that is self is so beautiful that Carl is longing for the two of them to go back to the hospital together. Sweet soft. Carl asked why the human tears and patient from the medical point of view. To answer his ward to suddenly came a call to an uncle suddenly into choking Carl for the first time with an angel. When he turned around, the TV did not come to the principal. Carl quickly asked the uncle why he could feel his existence. The uncle let him take him to a big meal. After a few bites of meat, the uncle said he was once an angel after he fell in love with a woman. So the decisive choice of members. Carl suddenly came to the spirit of the uncle. How to change members? Uncle said in a very high place. Just jump without using any divine power, but only if the determination to be human is strong enough, or it will be self-destruction. Uncle said to take out his wallet to Carl to see a picture of his achievements is the biggest welfare after he became a person. Carl listened to the heart of him. Also want to set up such a family with Anne. Uncle discharged from the hospital that day. The family prepared a sumptuous celebration dinner for him. Carl is playing with his granddaughter Grandma happy with a camera to take photos of two people, and picked up just out of the photo view but found Carl's position a group of light. He suddenly remembered Carl said he was an angel. Suddenly some panic. He invites Carl to his house for dinner and asks him to help cut the order, which is exactly what happened when Carl accidentally went ahead. Despite Carl's assurances that he wouldn't hurt him, Annie couldn't accept the fact and yelled at Carl to get out of her house. When he opened his eyes again, Carl had already disappeared. This thought that the fate of the two people had ended, but and fell into the endless thoughts of Carl from this day on. Unable to concentrate during the operation when eating, will stare at the next position in a daze at night, is tossing and turning, cannot sleep that day, and for uncle to check the body had been for angel. Uncle saw the problem at a glance. He said Carl loved him more than anyone else. You give me not a person is really a teacher, you give me better there to be seen you this Taiyu black milk. Uncle then said into the human words to make their hearts upside down. He decides to stop Carl, so he rushes to the library and whispers his name over and over again, and Carl reappears. And obviously want to go up to hug her, but Heartless said he wanted to marry another man. Let Carl don't come to her more, don't love for her to look at, and away back Carl heart in the long years. He finally fell in love with a person. Why is this the result? He did not easily give up alone to the roof. Open his arms and slowly close his eyes. Engraved with Annie in my mind and with a strong determination to be with him, I jumped down and opened my eyes again. Carl is a new man looking at the red liquid that only human beings can flow out of his face is full of stars who didn't sleep. No, Carl is finally a man. At last he was entitled to be with his beloved Annie, who ran down the road like a child as fast as he could to the hospital. Want to ask Anne to give him the opportunity, was told, and back home Carl immediately go to the station. Car was about to get on the bus only to find that they have no money. A car suddenly stopped behind. A bunch of thugs got out of the car and beat Carl up, but searched him for nothing but his leather shoes and threw him on the floor like garbage. The rain is pouring down and Carl stands helpless on the side of the road trying to get a ride and gets drenched hundreds of times, and no car wants to stop and be a human being on his first day. This made Carl very hurt. Is the love for Annie let him insist on finally in 5 hours to wait for the Good Samaritan rain sweep of the night. Carl finally saw, and again his extremely weak look let, and both surprised and distressed he carefully cleaned up Carl's wound. Looking at the blood on his mouth, and knew that he had gone for him to become a human being and could say that no one listened to Anne's confession, he could not help but smile. He gently touch his cheek and for the first time feel the presence of and in the human body all the hot love, all turned into this deep smell. From now on the sky is blue, the mountains are green, the sun is bright, everything is beautiful. One morning Annie went to the supermarket to buy some milk for Carl. On the way back he felt the warmth of the sun and thought that his lover was waiting at home. The next thing you know, a truck runs out and Annie doesn't have time to stop and she hits it, and Carl gets that bad feeling. He hurried out to look for her and found her with her last breath. No, is love me? No. Really? I didn't give it to him. What are you gonna say? But all too late, he looked affectionately at the beloved man, gradually lost his breath. Carl held him tightly in his arms and lost his voice. He finally understood why human beings cry, the despair and pain he never wanted to feel again, and from then on he was trapped in endless loneliness. He knew that people had to go through life and death. But he never expected to come so quickly. Before he even had a chance to picture a bright future with Annie's angel friend came to talk to Carl. You heard me wrong, stupid. I think I'm mostly in love. I'm not. I can give you 4 minutes and ask him for 70 days. You care what you want. After countless painful thoughts, Carl learns to reconcile with himself, and he fantasizes that Annie is still with him to take him to feel the sweetness of fruits and vegetables. In the morning to breathe the fresh air, to experience the sea and the waves. He wanted to feel the beauty of this world, for Annie to be human. We will always experience all kinds of accidents and difficulties. Some people will say that the world is not worth it. But I hope that everyone can have a loving heart, love others, love themselves, and always be positive. Embrace the sun. Interview all difficulties and suffering to meet a better tomorrow. Okay, here is for better life. If you like, follow me please. Thank you.